Can you hear me? No? You want louder? Thank you for being here at the meeting of LaSalle County Commissioners Court. It's Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. It's 1:12 p.m. Commissioner Alba is running a little bit late, but we do have a quorum. Commissioner Noel Llaves, Erasmo Ramirez, Raul Ayala Sr., and myself are a quorum. We'll acknowledge Commissioner Alba upon his arrival. We could rise, say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one, indivisible. Well, thank you for being here. Some of you haven't been here before. We do have a public comment section. There's a form that you have to fill out to participate, but we can take your public comment now or until we get to the item that we're going to cover. Gregory Roth here. Is Dr. Roth? Yeah, he's here.
Yes, yes.
And Doctor, to free you up, well, that's the first item I have. Discussion, possible action to adopt or extend emergency disaster declaration. And one is we do have to extend it. We do have to extend it because that's the only way we'd be able to keep submitting to FEMA for reimbursement. I don't know how much we've got. It's been a little bit, right? Very little that we've been reimbursed, but we have been reimbursed a little. And we have several things that we needed to talk about, but one is that the mask order has continued, and we checked with the governor's office, and I contacted Fernando Perez from DPS or Texas Department of Emergency Management twice, and he was in Austin, and he told me that order from the governor, which is GA 28 or 29, has not been revoked by the governor. It has not been revoked. So we've had some business owners that have been non-compliant saying, hey, you know, the governor rescinded it. Well, the governor did not rescind it. And it's for a reason. And I know it's hard on everybody. It's been very hard. But look at our neighboring county, Laredo. Laredo, the governor has kept them at 75%. And Zapata also has a high. They had over 300 people because the judge was on TV this morning. They've had over 300 people. So apparently we've been doing something right and been proactive, but the mask order is in place. And Dr. Rolf, I don't know if you want to give us an update on what you've been doing and what you've been working on.
Yeah, I've pretty much been working mostly with the school district in the last several weeks, and getting them up to speed with their processes and protocols that are in place, because the children or the students went back yesterday. Half of them went or a significant portion of them went back yesterday just to start in-school learning. There are still some that are doing distance learning, and that's actually a good thing because they don't have enough space I don't know that any school has enough space to have all of their students on campus and still maintain the 6 foot social distancing distance. So I've been working a lot with Dr. Seals and the nurses and the administrators at each of the schools. But then also the federal government has released a rural action plan as of September 1st. We're going through that slowly to to kind of start to have our own action plan about what we'll start to do in LaSalle County, referencing back to the national action plan. And basically it has a lot to do with chronic disease. There is some COVID parts in it, but mostly is for chronic disease, access, telemedicine, and other things like that. I can I can put a small summary together and send it out in the next few days, so everybody's up to speed on that. But that's perfect timing from the government and this position. And that's really about it right now.
Well, Doctor, you participated with a school board meeting yesterday,
Yes.
and how was the first day?
The first day, according to all the principals who were all there at the meeting, went very well. Obviously, there were some anxiety in the morning and so a little bit of delays, mostly for temperature checks and things like that. But for the most part, it went well. And the vast majority of people, students have been responding to the masks. We won't be requiring them for the special education children there, because the risk of trying to get them to wear it is much higher than just basically social distancing. So there are some exceptions, but we're going to go slow. What we decided was to go slow, watch the rest of the country, watch the other school districts, and see whether there's outbreaks and why those outbreaks occurred. But we don't need to be on the cutting edge and start taking masks away and start social distancing less than 6 feet. And I think we should be a semester behind everybody else and just watch their experiences and learn from them.
Do you know if they have an action plan for contact tracing?
Yes.
Infected personnel? They do?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the rest of the businesses we had talked about, and the governor made some changes, and Laredo, the Rio Grande Valley, and Victoria County or City of Victoria are at 75% occupancy, but these other counties have to remain at 50% occupancy. Last time we had the concern and we talked about it was the amusement gaming machines, which are maquinitas, whether they open and close. And I was going to suggest that they, if they open, provided that there be no smoking and no alcohol being consumed or even brought in. That's what I would suggest.
Smoking and all.
Well, if you smoke, then how do you do it with a mask? How do you do it with a mask? You can't have both the mask and the smoking. I mean, if they go outside and smoke, fine. Fine. Now,
I agree with that.
our county has never enacted local government code section 234.131, which allows the counties to regulate amusement machines. And the county has the right to promote public health, safety, welfare. Commissioners Court of the county may regulate the operation of game room and may restrict the location of game rooms to specified areas of the county, including unincorporated areas of the county. We can also prohibit a game room within a certain distance prescribed by the Commissioners Court of a school, regular place of worship, religious worship, or residential neighborhoods, and restrict the number of game rooms that may be operated in the area of a county. We also have the right to permit and make some money, and we kind of stayed away from it. And that could be a different item. But right now, we haven't been involved, but if we keep getting more machines and get out of control, we're gonna have to take action. Because we have a Main Street program, and we wanna enhance them, but we got the machines downtown. That's the first thing they see, maquinitas, when they come to town. Or alcohol, and that's the thing we had over here with the our 4-H, that the cameras would pick up people drinking outside. So we're gonna send our kids next to maquinitas to know. So that's something we're gonna have to bring up, but today's not the day. Today's not the day for that. My thing is, if we pass it, and I'd say do the order exactly like it is, no, change nothing, still mask and everything else, but the maquinitas on the condition, on the condition that they,
Mask and no, beer.
But Judge, the way they have it there in
No
Laredo, they no alcohol, no smoking, and then every other maquinita's got a shield on both sides. So I mean,
yeah,
don't-
I mean,
don't-
you can do every 6 feet, you can do a shield,
Just keep a
and,
maquinita.
huh?
In they say in other casinos you skip a maquinita.
they skip one, but they got a shield on both sides, but they're still skipping one of them.
I know you're here, you're an owner or operator of several
Maquinitas.
maquinitas throughout the area. Yes, sir. Yes. Well, first of all, what is your name? Miguel Guerrero.
To follow the guidelines. Now, we started this from the very first time that we were closed down, which was, I guess, 4 months ago, I think it was, 4 months ago, that basically we started up again with the guidelines of CDC. I know that I can't speak for the rest, but that's something I had spoken to the judge earlier, about 2 weeks ago, in reference to, you know, if y'all were to go into our place or their place, then it could be more policed in that manner where, you know, they're following CDC guidelines. I know that we have a fogging machine for disinfectant. I know that we wipe down every single machine once they leave. We wipe them down with alcohol and fabuloso, so it can have a little bit of smell, but everything is neutralized and killed right at that moment. As much as I want it to be fun for people, but I want it to be safe at the same time. Now, there is a good point. We might be able to get away with that as far as get those plastic, they're like cardboard, but they're like plastic kind of sort of. I know I just ran into somebody in Laredo that had them like that. I don't know what the cost would be, but if you give us at least a chance to get back to working, because I mean, we've been shut down for 6 months and it's been hurting so bad for so many people. People have been losing their homes. People have been losing their apartments, their cars, because they don't work, they can't work. One of my employees that I have now used to have, will run a game room here. They no longer exist because they just didn't make it. And it's just difficult because she's a hard worker. And, you know, she was one of my original workers from the beginning. And we're one of the oldest ones here besides her or her boss. So we're just trying to survive. That's all we're trying to do. And that's why I've spoken to the judge. But we will follow everything that you all ask. We will follow. You don't want us to serve alcohol during the process of this pandemic. I understand 100%. The smoking, hey, that's even better for me because that way the air conditioners don't get messed up as easy. I mean, I do want to follow the rules, just like I told the judge. I will follow anything you all ask. Just give us the opportunity to get back up and running. That's all we ask.
You know, there's been back and forth information on what the governor's done. You know, he was strict, he softened, strict, and it's been back and forth. So at one point, and I was looking for the email, I contacted Texas Department of Emergency Management, which is Fernando Perez, to see what we can do with the maquinitas. And then he pushed it up the ladder, and then they sent me an email, said, you can do it. Very simple. It wasn't something large, so you can do it. But Laredo's had them, and so has Zapata, and they've been strict, but yet the case thing is heavy. And that's the hardest thing. So I mean, we have to watch all that, and there's nothing to say that people don't go to stores to get exposed the same way as they would at, the maquinitas.
And Judge, you see, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. Just because, of course, the word maquinitas, it makes a whole bigger difference. But the same way that you can get it there, you can get, I had been saying this, since June 27th. I've been telling people, this pandemic is airborne, but people don't hear me. Now it just came out that the CDC says we were wrong. It is airborne.
Well,
So, I mean, you can go to.
Well, they
Lowe's,
changed their mind again after that. They said it wasn't.
You can go to Lowe's.
They changed it again, but
Yeah, they did. I have it. I can show it to you.
But-
You can go to Lowe's, you can go to Family Dollar, General, the Flying J,
But-
where people come and go out of town.
but there's a difference between Laredo and Zapata, is that we don't have the easy access to hospitals.
Sure.
We don't have doctors that live here. And that affects our decisions too. Because this weekend, I think they had 4 people that tested positive at the jail in Ensenada and the warden is very lucky that he has a 0 pressure room or several 0 pressure that he can contain it. And the school had a positive also at the cafeteria, and they have managed to contain it. So it's not, there's a presence, you're right, there's a presence there. But understanding that a mask, space, washing your hands, keeping, taking care of yourself, all has an effect. And as long as you're willing to participate to do that, that's great.
Judge, again, we are, and as much as, let me tell you gentlemen as well, my family's been doing this for 36 years. We started with Sheriff Mario Santos, which is the old sheriff of the county, Webb County. Back in the day, him and this other gentleman, which I think he's still with the council, Mr. Narvaez, so we've been doing this for so long that we've always followed the rules in the aspect that the city tells us, or the county, we follow the rules. We try to comply with everything that you ask. But on this scenario, that we've never been through this scenario, and nobody's never been through this scenario. So it's kind of difficult for us as well, because this is our livelihood, and we have to depend. Thank God I've got a wife that works and she's a teacher, so she's been maintaining the household. It's been difficult. It's been very difficult. So it's gotten to the point where that's why I've been pleading with the judge, because we don't know what to do anymore. We're just at that point of time where it's either we make it or we break it.
Yes, sir. So that'd be the condition, that do the order, allow them to be open. On the condition, no alcohol, no smoking. We gotta have their masks, and they gotta be 6 foot apart. If they can get
We'll look
the
into
shields,
those
the
shields.
shields is great.
They're basically, they're not, because I know that plexiglass, that's gonna be too expensive. But I know that there's like these cardboard type, but they're made of plastic. I think they're gonna be perfect. I'm gonna look into the ones in Laredo. As soon as we're done here, go back over there, finish out for the day. And then probably tomorrow I'll head it to that place to see where they got it and see if I can start doing it.
How many machines do you
I
have?
have a total of, I believe it's on 52.
Go to in that place.
I'm sorry, sir?
In that one place.
Yes, that's, yeah. Yeah, we used to be the one over at the mobile home, but we moved over here.
So it's 52. So square footage, you got enough room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 4,000 square feet. So even at 50%, we never meet
And,
whatever it is, we never
and,
meet.
and like I said, if there's any concern, commissioners, we have another statute. And that location is a little bit different because it borders commercial street, but it also has residential.
Mhm.
So I mean, if it kind of gets out of control, that's not a topic for today. We can bring it up on another day.
Yes, sir.
Residential.
Huh?
area. It's a residential area.
Commercial residential.
Yeah.
Because golf, I know Thornton, I don't know about, and I think Johnson are considered both commercial residential
Yeah, we had that old store. there.
for forever. That's why they had the stores. So it can be both ways. So, and that's what, but our main thing is that the community's been working good together, and I know the bars are still closed, and I hope it doesn't come back, and work with us,
Yes, sir.
work with us.
I'll work with you all 100%. I mean, just like I said, I mean, just tell us, and which I've been hearing already, you don't want the alcohol? Hey, it's better for me too, at the sense. Again, the sheriff is here. I used to work for the, sheriff's department in Webb County. I know that I'm not going to give a gentleman that's already drunk in my location, he's going to come and, hey, yeah, and I can see that he's wobbly. I'm not going to give him beer because I know if he leaves my place, he gets stopped or he runs, hits somebody. What is he going to say? Oh, vengo de las maguitas, ahí me están dando.
No, my more concern has been not that.
But the taking off.
There's no I haven't heard of anything that they've got out of control leaving Maquinitas, but the problem is that as people consume alcohol, many times they put their guard down
Yes.
and then they get closer. So then they start socialize a little bit closer, and that's what we're trying to prevent. We're trying to spread them out.
Yeah.
At
No,
the same-
bueno, Judge, like I said, y'all tell us what to do, we'll follow the rules. And that's what we're here for. As long as you hear us and we hear you clearly, but just let us work. That's it.
And like I said,
Casino.
and I think all the bars except one bar are selling food. So there's a little combination, I think now. I think they're all doing that.
Okay.
I don't
Thank
know.
you, gentlemen, for listening
I don't
to
know
me.
what y'all want to do, but just put on the order that nothing changes.
Nothing changed. Doesn't
But they have a mask, no smoking, no drinking,
display.
huh?
And just
No drinking. They have to have the 6 foot spacing as required, and some type of guard or shield. Some type of guard or shield between the machines.
They can put the guard later on, though.
Hmm?
I mean, they don't have to put the guard right now.
Well,
They give about a week or 2 weeks to do that.
I'd say we can give them 30 days to come up with some type of shield.
Perfect. 30 days is perfect.
Haz una feria.
Well, we got to come back in 30 days anyway.
Yeah, every 30 days.
We got to come back in 30 days.
Okay, just, is that your form of the motion or mine?
Well, one more thing in reference to that. Like I said, I know that there's been some businesses and they're tired of wearing a mask, but the governor hasn't changed it. And the people are tired of the mask, but the calls have gone down. We've done good. I mean, as a community, it's hard, but let's just go a little bit further. I mean, we've done well. We've done well, but just the fact that the government is telling you to do this, gets a lot of people upset, but
Try to do it.
we have to. So that'd be in the form of a motion on that. You got that, Margie? The only thing that's going to change, and we'll add to that.
I'll make the motion. Judge.
Commissioner, Ayala made the motion. Is there a second? Motion's been made in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dr. Rowe, thank you for coming down. He did come down yesterday. He met with the school nurse and officials. He visited the facilities at the high school. And I think he's been working with the school board, so he's been participating in their meetings. So, we'll just continue. Some of you wanted flu shots and another testing. Vitamed's going to have testing on Friday at the fire station. I need to send it to you. One, It's a swab, but they're going to be able to get the results in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes. So he's going to bring his machines down. Second, he's going to have flu shots available. So if you want to get your flu shot, he'll take the flu shot. So get both of them done. So I think with Vitamed, we've had a little bit more participation than when we have the National Guard. I don't know why, but they have been. So it's, Dr. Rolf met with him as well, and he recommended the flu shot, and some of you have been asking for the flu shot. So they got to register online.
So is that gonna be at the fire department or EOC or where's
It'll be
that?
at the fire department.
Fire station.
So they meet, Mr. Casara said they may need some extra cones to where they can park, because it takes 5 or 10 minutes to get the results. Is it a positive? Takes usually less than 3 minutes. The negative, it takes about 11 minutes.
So
But they're bringing their equipment that analyzes and do that at the fire station.
So you come out positive this way, negative this way, or what?
No, they're gonna put you on the side and they'll tell you right away. They'll tell you right away. So I don't know if they reached out to you, is it Lieutenant Butterfield or Captain? Butterfield. Yeah. So, but
They told me yesterday, but then he hadn't given me any insight on it, so.
well, they just sent me the flyer so we can get them processed. So I'll send it to the county workers and the fire department shortly. But yesterday we met with by phone with Dr. Rolf, and he made recommendation of the flu shots. And then see what type of response we get on the flu shots. So we'll go. Is there anything else that we're missing?
I just want to stress, Judge, to the commissioners, to tell your constituents to really encourage them to get the flu shot. This year, I mean, it's always important. People have reasons why they get it, why they don't get it, but this year it's extremely important because of COVID, obviously. You get either one of those or you get both of them together, and that's going to be disastrous. So I would really do your best to get everybody on board with getting their flu shot this year. I'd really like to see the community have a high percentage of completion for that.
Butterfield?
Household. It's my understanding that the husband works out of town. He came back. He ended up testing positive. The wife ended up testing positive, and the daughter. The son tested negative, but the son was kind of in separate. They don't spend a lot of time together. The mom works at the school, and the son goes to school. So the timelines that we've seen, they did not intersect. So our school system is still okay. I know that was a big question that I got yesterday was, and actually a couple of days ago, about the school system and being affected by it. And it's my understanding that there was no interaction with the school system and the family.
I understand that everybody at the school that worked with that person, that even though there was no contact, tested anyway, and they tested negative. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
So,
I would highly suggest it.
So they eliminated that threat anyway.
That's pretty much all I have. Our total numbers are 113, which is substantially lower than any other county around us.
The only thing I ask law enforcement, I ask yourself, Sheriff, at some point, the mask order, if you get businesses that don't want to comply, at some point, we got to start issuing them citations. I went to numerous businesses this weekend and the employees aren't wearing masks. And,
Where did you go?
huh?
Where did you go?
A couple businesses.
'cause
I'm
I
not gonna
had-
mention here.
I had 6 that I warned on Wednesday. I had 6 different businesses. I had the Napa, the Pronto, the O'Reilly's, the Ace Hardware. I don't know the name of the store, that
Yeah,
two-story,
yeah.
two-story store.
Yeah, I went to O'Reilly on Saturday and there were some individuals with no masks.
Oh, then I'm gonna have to get back in there because they were already warned.
But
What I did find with the businesses, the same statement from every single one was, well, wasn't that order lifted? And yeah, well, the one order was expired on, I think it was Friday, and the new one started on Monday. So it's still in effect until the 21st. So,
well, I know we reached out to a number of people and there's a hierarchy. I think I sent the sheriff and different people the opinion from James Allison, from Allison Bass, the counsel to the county commissioners and county judges of Texas. And basically there's a pecking order, the municipal, then the county, and then the governor's office. So that's where I sent it to you, where he said, you know, even local orders have a conflict with a county, then the county order would override that of the city. And likewise, the governors would override that of the county. That's why I've tried to keep so much in parallel with the governor's office. That way we don't get to a situation to where it's different from the governor's.
so that's correct.
You know, but we can make changes to chapter 418 and we could be challenged on it, but we can still, you know, go to court and decide because every single county and city is different demographics, people, what they do. So the safety is going to be different. We can make changes to it, but try to do as much research as I can before we make those decisions. And like I said, y'all doing good. Warden, you've been doing good, and the sheriff. I mean, with that detention center, you know, with the amount of people that come in, you know, it's hard, but we just got to go a little bit further. So, did we vote on it already? No, we haven't voted on it?
No.
So the motion was made with the proposed changes for the gaming machines. If there's no more further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Let's see what else I know we have a couple items. Number 12, discussion possible action to authorize Carl Esser to submit grant application for overtime and pay supplements for hourly law enforcement emergency personnel. And Chief Earl Heath has been working on that application. Okay. Yep,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Carl.
Yeah.
You there?
Is that the Stone Garden or which one are you referring to?
No, I think he had a new one under the CARES Act. I think there was one under the CARES Act that Chief Heath had. Yeah, Chief. Yeah, Chief. I'm gonna demote him. But had said that there's one under the CARE Act that would allow hourly employees to be paid an additional $5 an hour overtime.
Oh, that would be, well, what that would be is, it could be, has the potential of being an eligible expense with the coronavirus relief fund. If you authorize hazardous pay to the employees there of LaSalle County. And so I guess at some point determination, you know, whatever the county's desire there is as to, you know, who'd be eligible for hazardous pay.
And the question of hazardous pay, is this a policy that would have to go in long term? Or could it be only through the period of the pandemic? Carl, have you done any like this?
Sir,
Have you done any applications like this?
I had one
I
other,
haven't seen any paperwork, but I put it on the, even though I didn't have the specific information.
All I have
With
is
the-
what Carl sent me, but like I
Yeah.
said, I learned this through Kirk County. And what they were doing was getting this passed for the emergency personnel. It will even go, from what I understood, and I'm not sure how you apply for this, but what it will do is it would reimburse our people since they started, since the pandemic started, but it will end when the pandemic is closed. And then I spoke to Mr. Esser, and he's the one that sent me these information is TDM, and it talks about coronavirus relief fund.
yeah, I'm looking here on the coronavirus relief fund. Not sure what number that is. Where they talk about hazardous pay.
Carl, I think the solution is pretty simple. Is one, authorize you to submit the grant application for any reimbursement that we could be entitled for, related to the pandemic, and work with Mary and Margie to make sure that the policies can be changed, and Jorge to make sure that we're not going to spend any more money than we've budgeted already.
Yeah, if that activity is something the county wants to consider, that would be reimbursable, have the potential of being reimbursable under the CARES Act allocation that LaSalle County received, $55 per capita.
And see, that money's gone already. We put it all in testing. And what Danny's been working on, and they've been working with the fire department, is to get other reimbursements for these other services we're providing. It's only a 70%. I believe it's 70%. Carl, I think you've been working on some of those with Danny.
Yeah, for different ones. Yeah, we've been trying to tap into them. Now, has LaSalle County consumed their total coronavirus relief fund allocation?
Yes. Yes, we have.
Okay,
Just on testing alone. And you start looking at law enforcement time and emergency personnel time, then it's probably been consumed 3 times more than that amount. But, if it's an eligible expense for reimbursement, then I'm saying, Carl, go ahead and proceed with it. And instead of coming back and forth, let Mary, since she has a policy, write it in and we'll come back and do the policy. And we can come back and amend the policy manual, but for grant submissions, give her the authority to make the policy change to the policy. We don't have to come back. She is that caretaker, and Jorge can verify the numbers, and then we don't have to come back and forth.
So this is not a separate fund for emergency personnel?
No, but this is the way it worked. They gave us X amount, and the city got half, and we got half, based on inside and outside city limits. Although the majority of our money was used probably inside the city limits. But once you hit that threshold, then you can apply to FEMA for reimbursement for those expenses too.
Okay,
And that's why fire department keeping totals, and I think they've done some submissions because I understood that we already got $70,000 back. But that would be the same thing on, any emergency personnel. But still, I mean, still getting reimbursement, you still gotta pay a full dollar, you're gonna get 70 cents back. Not a problem. It's not a problem. It's easier to come up with that, knowing that we're gonna get reimbursed.
Because see, just like Kerr County, I would imagine they've already spent what they had. So that's why I was thinking this was a separate amount just for emergency personnel.
Yeah, and.
Law enforcement, fire department, EMS.
And I can have, and there's different pots of money with different agencies. We can have Carl do the research just to make sure. But I know that our county's been very, very involved with testing and other things, versus other surrounding areas. Other areas have different agencies that provide that service. We don't have anybody, so the burden falls on the county.
I thought it was worth a chance, I mean, if there was a possibility of getting money, extra monies.
And if there's a possibility, I said, yes, submit it, but that's the way I would do it. Go ahead, let Mr. Esser get those totals. Get them submitted. If there's a policy change, authorize Mary to go ahead and make that policy change. And anything doing with the numbers report, and then we come back to Commissioner's Court
Right.
and what do you call, ratify the policy change.
Because like I said, but I understood this was for hourly employees.
And I'm sure you're right, because there's a whole big old checklist of everything that could be used with the money. But if it's a CARES Act, is one of a separate pot. We may have to reach out, what monies did you use? The CARES Act or was it something else to the governor's office? Because the governor has had some other funds that I noticed were not listed in there on some of his grants.
I wonder why we'd be excluded.
But, so like I said, I hadn't seen anything in writing on exactly what they're doing, so it's hard to tell you. Because when they looked at eligible activities, the federal government put out a huge list, spreadsheet of everything that was eligible. And, it's going to be interesting because everybody's doing something different.
Okay.
So we're not saying no. We'll go ahead and submit it. We get reimbursed, fine. If it's a separate pot of money, that's 100%. But we got to identify that pot first.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So what can we call tomorrow? Maybe we can call Kirk County, or is it Kirk County Sheriff? You said?
Well, let me call, there's fixed to be a new sheriff up there January the 1st. He was the one that was telling me about it.
Okay.
He was there in Commissioner's Court when it was passed. But I'm not sure. I can get him to ask him. Maybe he can get some
I could check
information
the
on it.
minutes. I'll check the minutes online to see what they have.
Okay.
That's a good
This
start.
is the last, this was 2 weeks ago.
But many of these leads and the information you give us,
Okay.
open doors. So I'm going to chase it. But for the time being, I would say, hey, let Carl work on it. There's a policy change. Give Mary the ability to make that policy change. And Jorge, get the numbers to Mary. If there's any numbers, just verify them. And I would take that in form of a motion.
I'll make that motion, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Mr. Martinez, I got you on a number of items. Jorge? And I guess we can start with number 8. Discuss possible action to prioritize text dot bridge program bridges and identify bridge structures in need of replacement to offset text dot match requirements, including bridge funding.
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners. Jorge Martinez with SMB. What I've given out to the, passed out today was a copy of a draft letter that we would be submitting to TxDOT for approval. So to give you an idea what's going on is that TxDOT is saying they want the county to find bridges that they can help fund with the BRINSAT program. So being that we have some upcoming projects that are not reimbursed by TxDOT, meaning the grant TxDOT projects that were going to be coming up soon, those are not eligible. I have here the two original ones, which is El Jardín at Frio, Holland Dam at Elm Creek. Those two are still in play. Those two are still going to be funded 100%, not 100%, 90% by TxDOT. The county will be responsible for 10%. They're asking us to submit equivalent match projects so that the county does not have to put the 10% that's required money-wise. They're just going to obligate or commit to doing certain structures, certain bridges. As an example, in Valley Wells, there are several bridges that are going to be getting replaced or constructed. So the intent is to submit to TxDOT, here's a list of the bridges that the county is going to be doing within 3 years. We'd like to get credit for that. If TxDOT approves that credit, that means that when these 10%, these projects come in to get funded by the state, the 10% match that's required will not be required anymore because you've already spent the money improving another structure. Same thing for La Cuchina. Right now, TxDOT has indicated they're looking at replacing the bridge at La Cuchina and finding additional money to do that one. So that'd be 3 right now that they'd be funding. The one at La Cuchina is not the one with the railing. It's the one before it. The one under the railing is not part of the BRINSAT. The one before it is. So they're saying that if we can find equivalent match projects, they will fund that bridge as well, as part of with the other two, the Holland Dam and El Jardín Bridge. So in this letter, if you read it, the first page talks about the different bridges that are on the National Bridge Inventory for the state. And we show 5 of them. The first 2 are the ones that they already had told us they were going to fund. The next one is the La Cuchina one that's on the BRINSAT, which is not the one with the railing. And there's 2 at Valley Wells that are BRINSAT program bridges that we're looking to see if they can fund. On the second page, if you look at the listing, we're showing 5 structures as part of this equivalent match project list. This is us telling TxDOT that within 3 years, we'll be doing these 5 bridges so that we can qualify those jobs and not have to come out with a 10% match. There's going to be more bridges that the county is going to be doing in the next 3 or 5 years. But before we do any of them, we have to come back to the state and let them know beforehand so that we can get credit for them. The problem is not going to be whether, I think the problem is going to become that TxDOT's going to find it hard to find money from the BRINSAT program to do more bridges for LaSalle. I think LaSalle's already doing a lot of structure. They have been over the last few years, spend millions of dollars doing it. And even if we come in and put all the ones that are coming in, for example, on Valley Wells, once that project takes off, they're not going to have $5 million worth of bridges that they're going to be able to fund because there's not going to be any more money from them to do it from. So my plan and the way I propose it here is I'm only showing 5 structures right now that we're going to submit to the state that will exceed the 10% match that's required. So as an example, and what you see in front of you is a draft. If you were to do these 5 structures, you would have spent $2.7 million on all those structures. And that's the ones on Valley Wells and the La Cuchina with the railing. That would exceed the $510,000 10% match. TxDOT's going to tell you, y'all need to put $510,000 for the 10% for the other structures. You're going to exceed that by $2.2 million. And what I'm saying is TxDOT's not going to be able to find the money to get more projects funded as part of this, is what I understood. So we have a choice. We can come in and commit to say, hey guys, TxDOT, you guys are going to fund these 3, maybe 4 bridges. We're doing these over here and we're going to do it within 3 years. So give us credit so we don't have to cut you a check. That's the summary of what this agreement is doing.
But right now, as we look at, we only got 2 bridges funded. We got the bridge in Jardín Road, which is the one where the flow checks and the Martins hit the river.
Yes, sir.
And that's at $1,850,000. The other one is Holland Dam Road at Elm Creek, and that's on 3408, right? It's 3408 where the pavement ends. That's
correct.
Elm Creek. So that estimate is 950,000. I think it'll be more, but
They have not revised those estimates. They
So-
said they would, yes, sir.
so it's 95,000. So that's 280,000. And if we look at La Cochina at the draw, they're looking at 844,000 with a $84,000 match.
They submitted that's one of the,
So that's 320,000. But they're saying we don't have to pay the 300,000 if we pay $2.7 million and do the other bridges, which I say, hey, just pay them the match. And if we do have the money, we'll do the other bridges. You know, because even on the Cochina, the one with the rails, maybe I'm wrong, but I really think that on one of the past road and bridge reports, and I had looked at it, that I saw the rails. I thought I saw the rails. Maybe I'm wrong.
it's on there.
Huh?
It's not on the Brinsap one, but you're correct. The rails are there.
So they did take a picture of it.
Oh, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't. They don't have it on their, it was on our road reports. They didn't, on their Brinsap, I pulled the last two that were issued. They didn't have it on
And we may
their.
want to go further, but I saw it on some, but if that bridge fails at some point and we can't fix it, then you shut it. You close it until you can get it fixed. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, but, you know, because we've had a lot of wear and tear, and I'm glad that TxDOT from Laredo's reaching out, but it's been over 10 years that they funded anything. So I say, oh, Brinsap doesn't have any money. Well, what you do with all this money, all these other years? Because we started asking, okay, where did Webb County get the money? Where did he give the money? And they started backpedaling. And I asked Ryan Gein to help us, and they started backpedaling and said, oh, no, we found some money for you. The money they're giving us is not the Brinsap program. It's all monies that are left over. They still have not accounted how they spent their other money in the region for us, because previously they told us they were going to give us credit on La Cochina, and we never got credit on La Cochina. They don't remember talking to us. Those people no longer work there. You know, it's the same thing. So we give them an agreement, you know, and they don't come through. So, I mean, I would say I'd rather just commit our match money. We'll try to fix as many structures as we can. But I'd rather take our time and focus on what other projects, because you did the CIF program and you submitted, we kind of divided it. So, and you got some other structures that need to be done on Valley Wells. But, you know, I don't want to put that commissioner into a pinch to where he's going to spend this kind of money and make that kind of commitment.
So the intent is, minimize the list to offset any match that the county would be
I
responsible.
wouldn't say
for.
no yet. I'd like to come back and cover it because, one, I got some numbers from Noe Hinojosa and looked at them, and I want to compare the numbers because the interest is dropping a lot. You know, do we move it around, get some savings, have the same payment, more money, or what do we do? I want to take our time and say, because all y'all want to do projects. All y'all, we're doing, like I said, in Jardín, I'd like to finish it all the way to the river. You know, you got some that you want to do La Cochina, you got some that you want to finish. So conservative estimates, so we need to really look at our finances really good and how this would impact the county of the 2.7. We have some money. We got to get with Jorge and check. He still needs to check my numbers to make sure the numbers were okay. But I wouldn't say no quite yet. So I'd try to get a 30-day extension. And
The only thing, and there's no deadline right now. What's happening right now is that TxDOT cannot submit for at least the two that are in play. They cannot submit them onto the list because they were scheduled to go in next August. If we don't submit this soon, I guess is the answer.
But the two in play, they told us Ed Jardín and Hoffman was separate money that they were allotted. I heard this from Austin. Now here in Laredo, it seems like they're messing with us. Well, we're not going to submit it. So who's telling us? Austin told me that the money was already earmarked from unappropriated monies. And if now they're saying this is BRINSAP now, well, where's our money? Where's
No.
our money? Huh?
Yes, sir. This one is earmarked. It's just to get them going into the process. They need, and he mentioned that they've been sending emails trying to make sure that we move it. I'm like, look, we're just trying to get these equivalent match projects submitted and approved before we can come back to them and say, hey, here's the list of the ones that we're going to show. And then we'll go to the next step. So we're still 2 steps from that point, I guess is what I'm saying. At this point, it's just committing to that project in La Cochina. Is that something that's going to be in the budget? So that we can put it on here as one example and get credit for it.
What I would like, Jorge, is for all your bridges, which I know are identified already, to be looked at. And look at your over 20-foot ones that are BRINSAP, how much it costs to replace them, widen them. All those less than 20 feet, let's look at them. Because I know in Coke Road, they got some made of railroad ties.
On
The end of the Cochina, I mean, of the Coke, you got some that are made of tire.
those just we I remember when I don't know if you can hear me, but when Mike Rojas was here, he told me I had to close them. So I went ahead and we had a big rain. We had a big rain and was, the bridges, we were afraid they were gonna fail and I guess water was on the bottom. I'm just gonna give you wild numbers, maybe about 5 feet, So what we did, in case of an emergency, nobody could go through the top, because we were afraid of the bridge. So what we did, we pulled them bridges out, and they were single lane bridges. And I talked to Russell, and we went ahead and put culverts, but we went ahead and put, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were two 24-footers. We widened that road from a single lane, I guess it was, 18 feet or whatever it is, to 48 feet, Josh, and we put a clamp, and on both bridges, we put culverts, and I think we probably put, I guess, about 80 loads of road material, and
So
And-
you took care of those.
we took care of those, and we had a big rain, about 9 inches of rain, and nothing has moved and nothing has changed. So
Because
those are good, Josh.
your larger bridges, you got a number of them. And I think we need to identify all those larger bridges and prioritize fixing those bridges, because when you replace them, it's gonna be a payoff 50, 60 years before they have to be looked at. Most of the bridges that we have were in the 30s. So you can put a lot of material, it's gonna wear out, and next year you gotta put more material, but the bridges are gonna stay there a long, long time.
And like
But-
like you say, Judge, on those bridges up here at Cochina, they're single lane, and just that
But-
big one has that guardrail, but that guardrail's too far off. So
But I'm not saying no, I'm saying, okay, what does it take to take care of all the bridges? Because let's say we do all the bridges, the whole field dries up, whatever happens, we go back to the way we were. At least you have the bridges for 50, 60 years taken care of.
Yeah.
For years, because what people need to understand, you got money that comes in from the oil field, and it's been good, and it varies, and there'll be cycles up and down. But there won't be any oil field unless the oil companies have to access it when they do, whether it's a service to continue the production they have, or whether they decide to expand it. I have an item, there's some solar farms that want to come in. So we got options. So maybe the priority should focus what bridges are really key to future development, which are the worst, and just try to target those bridges. Meet with Noe or whatever we need to do and see, what does it take? Talk to Henry, if we can get federal money to do so. We've been very fortunate to be able to target this, because this wasn't something that was on the table. But the pressure that we put by continuing to be squeaky, gave us these bridges. And we don't want to lose Cochina. We may have to come back in 2 weeks, maybe. Jorge, but we don't want to lose La Cochina because that's three bridges that are getting funded. Two for sure, one get it funded, that
One
weren't
is-
being funded.
It will get funded is what I hear, as long as we submit this and go to the next steps. I mean, of course, we've heard that before.
But I don't just want to focus on this road and leave everybody else out because you got all the taxpayers to look at.
So I'll tell
So
you,
let's look at everybody all together and try to get all the bridges.
so to give you a little update on that, the Brensap bridges, only the Brensap, the top 5 worst bridges, I guess you want to call it. The first one being El Jardín at Frio, that one's getting taken care of. The second one's a Holland Dam at Elm, that's taken care of, that's the number 2 worst. Then it goes to Charlie Brown Road, that's a 60 rating, that's the next one. Then it goes to Cochina Road, the Brensap one, and then it goes to the Valley Wells at Espio Creek. So those are the top 5 that are in the list according to just Brensap. That's what that is.
But
There's other bridges that are.
and
not
what,
too.
what I'm looking at, Jorge, is this new plan, let's get it all. And then I'll get a hold of Ryan and say, look, Ryan, we have been funded in a while. Cut us a deal. Give us a one time, let's fix these out. Then you don't have to fund this no more. You know, we'll go away. We'll go away on this subject. We'll go away on this subject because, you know, they don't want to tell us where they spent the other money. So now they're over a barrel and they want to say, well, we don't want to tell them where they spent because we know probably where it went. So we put the whole list and we have a good wish package and then we hit up TxDOT.
Just to give you a point of reference, the ones at Valley Wells, if you were to do all the ones for those nine miles or whatever it is right now, you're looking at about $4 or $5 million just in structures and approaches. That's it. That's a lot of money. And what I'm getting at is we can, if we plan on doing that in the future, submit for a credit and say, we're going to do this. I want credit. That's something that we need to push for so we don't have to spend any more. The state does give the county more money. It's just, they're not going to find enough.
But we're going on the fact that the state gives us more money and they've done that to us before and they failed to come through. And it said, spend 2.7. Well, match, we only have to spend
500 and something.
500,000. Well, 320,000.
With the additional ones.
360,000 is all we have to match right now for those 3 bridges.
Yeah.
But say spend 2.7 million, I said, no.
Give
I
us
mean,
2.7 million of bridges. That would be.
yeah,
ideal.
match us.
And that so far, they haven't committed to us. They were able to say, we can get one more right now with what we're hearing from Brensap program. But what they're telling me is that they're competing, these bridges are competing statewide with all, that's what they always say. So let's push it.
And now they're running it by the book and now they're competing. But what happened to the last 10 years?
Yeah.
What really, the last one we got was in 2003, which was on Holland Dam Road. More, it's been 17 years. It got constructed like in 2007, but it got funded in 3. So it's really been like 17 years, you know. And before that is Wajuco, one in Wajuco. So they're backpedaling because where they spent the money. And you ask them for their ratings, what they're doing. No. And we had a meeting last week with University of Texas, and Judge Flores was also unhappy because they felt that they have been taken care of. So I mean, these are issues that are regional issues, and I think we need to put pressure because the majority of this money that goes stays in the metropolitan area. It's going to stay in the Webb County metropolitan area, and I'd still like to see those numbers. So I'd say table this for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll come back at the next meeting. There'll be a meeting next week for the tax rate, but October 13th. When's y'all's conference?
On
the 4th. Oh, you'll be back on the 13th.
Well, Judge, I've never ridden these other precincts bridges, but are all the bridges, like single lane bridges?
Yeah, most of them are all single, except the ones that we've replaced.
Because like, I'm gonna talk about Cochina, like on Cochina Road, like you say, Judge, it's a good deal, widen them, make them, for two vehicles, instead of a single lane and they're thin and they don't got no guardrails, especially a big one, and I know it's not included on that deal, that big bridge, but
Where I'm concerned, along the Nueces River, which would be Holland Dam, Wahuco, Valley Wells, you got some deep creeks.
yeah.
And those take a lot of cement, a lot of planning. The Frio River, they said 1.8. I'm thinking it's gonna be 3, maybe 4, maybe $5 million to do that one, to be able to withstand the type of traffic that's going over that.
Judge, I got a picture here. I don't know if you can put on that. There's a, I mean, that's whatever accident happened, but there's a little deal that happened on.
But this is small.
It's a small.
Because you have rigs that weigh over 100,000 pounds. And I think the EOG rigs were over 100,000. Is this on?
The cold tubing,
Can you see it?
they're the
Back
heaviest.
it up, Judge, a little bit. More, Judge? More,
A lot.
more, Judge? Can you see it more? Can you go further more, Judge? Not catching it, no?
Going to the side. Okay, some picture.
I'm sorry.
And like on all of them bridges, pues they're single lane and
Here.
Aye, right there. And they get big.
Can you clarify it? The Cochino Road? Only way you could see the trailer that's over the rail. Over the bridge.
Is that the one that turned over?
Did it turn over after all?
Right there.
it was just on the, that one was just on the side, Judge.
Not going?
See right there it is, Judge. See, those single lane bridges, if they don't pay attention, and it's happened several times, some of them have flipped over on their side and,
Yeah.
them little single lane bridges but like you say, just,
Probably because they're on the phone, Jack.
Huh?
well, yeah, but, still, they got the guardrails.
For each, we got, we put one on each side, 4-inch pipe, painted yellow. So we have it, very well road.
So, I mean, I would look at that, prioritize, let's look at all the bridge sap bridges, and then come back 2 weeks, and then,
So
I'll make the motion to table it to 2 weeks.
is there a second?
That's on the bridges.
Yeah.
Cochinos.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Alright.
Where are we on the road reports?
3 out of the 4 are complete. 2 out of the 4 are complete. So I'm gonna ask to see if we can table for, if you have another meeting next
We
week.
have a meeting next Wednesday, I believe,
Yeah, we
on
can
the
just add
30th?
it on there just to put it.
for the tax rate. Let me see, make sure. September 30th. Table till September 30th? Yeah. Yeah, when we approve the tax rate, we'll do the bridge reports.
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. 13, discussion and or possible action on text dot infrastructure grant program, including acceptance by each commissioner approved projects. It's been submitted to text dot, it's been accepted. Mr. Martinez, what, How long do you think you'll be before you let them?
There's a
And-
schedule on that list. If you remember, if you saw it, there's a schedule of the letting of how, which was gonna go first, second, third. But if it follows that's what it's gonna follow right now. I know we
Okay.
anticipated this back in August, so it may have moved to now, probably lost a month, but we can move everything as needed.
Are you gonna try to submit them all together?
I know that there's some that are ready. As an example, Valley Wells, we would need to redefine the scope for the first 2 miles and then issue that. So that one can come first out of the group, just because that one's already done, the whole 9 miles. We just got to separate it. So that one can go in right away. La Cochina and the other ones that we have is what we need to start working on. So the answer is, we do have a schedule in place on that list, but we can update it or prioritize as the commissioners wish.
I mean, whatever projects are ready, I'd say go ahead and submit them.
Okay.
Submit them. What happens, the more these projects go, and all these projects that we're doing, is that they start buying locally. They'll do restaurants, they buy gas, they buy fuel, they hire some workers. Sometimes they're local contractors. So it circulates.
Mhm.
So if these projects go for 2 years and the other projects go for 2 years, it's not gonna cure everything, but it does employ a lot of people. But if you let one out and one out, one out, then it's just like a little dribble. It's not enough. But the faster you can get them out there and get this money used for text dot, then you stimulate it. So it's a gamble. We've taken a gamble before, and it's worked.
So if you say maybe we could stagger them enough so it's consistent.
I wouldn't
Or do you
say
want them all
stagger.
at
I mean, you
once?
try to put them all out. How long are these projects? How long is the project?
Since they're not very large, they can go up pretty quick.
Huh?
They're not very large, because they're only, 2.5, 2 million per precinct. They're not that large. We can. move
6
them.
months, a year
Yeah.
or something, but you're ready to put some out.
Yes, sir.
And you want to put some out, but you don't want to put too little projects out and then run out of time. So you want to consume the money as possible. So you want to put out as many as you can as soon as possible.
Okay, so we'll
Two
issue
round,
the,
1 round, I mean,
yes, sir. We'll issue the work authorizations for them to,
but,
and we'll
but,
follow the
but,
schedule.
but you get it going. Then you get your contractors busy, and you get it going. And like I said, when those people buy gas, they buy contract, they buy tacos, they buy supplies, repair parts, it circulates. Hopefully they'll consider, what you may want to look at in the bid, and it's in the government code, is that you're able to give, a bid preference discount for anybody that is, either a local contractor or, disadvantaged business, like a woman-owned business.
Okay.
But there is a government code that you can give a discount to local contractors. So let's look at that, see if it's feasible.
Okay.
So that's what I was asked, commissioners. I mean, just want to talk to Jorge, if you agree, try to put them out there. I mean, put them out there.
Okay. I'll get with Mr. Snowden and we'll move on.
Huh? No action, just, what I had asked him on your projects, once he finished, and they put them out to bid for you all to approve the projects, when they go out, when you put them out to bid. If that's your project that you all want to do. We'll give you a chance,
Okay.
to do that. So, I mean, I would make a motion, hey, authorize Jorge to expedite the bidding of the projects that are ready and to, fast track, the projects that have been identified. But before he does put out these projects to be, bid in paper to get the final approval on each commissioner.
Second.
So that'd be the motion. Motion has been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I gave you a copy of the interlocal, and we don't need to approve, but we do need to update it. So what I wanted you to do is take this home, add whatever roads that you've worked on. We'll make the changes, come back and approve in Commissioner's Court and give it to the city. Because this was done in 2017, we had it all typed, and y'all been working with the city. We just need to update our records.
Add more,
Yeah.
the streets that weren't there,
Yeah.
they were not here.
So I gave you a copy, add those, and then Lucia Hasi will add them to the order. Then we exit it, give it city, and update it. And if you plan to work on some that are not, add them there also. So that's all it was, but I had to post it to get it to you. So I'd say a motion to table the interlocal cooperation agreement pending identification of
Streets
other cities within the city of Cotula or the city of Ensenal. We probably need to do one for Ensenal too. Well,
It's not here now?
Yeah, I'll do one for Ensenal too. And I'll meet with Jack. Pending feedback from the commissioners. And I'll put that in form of a motion.
I'll make the
Second.
motion.
So motion's been made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Shaughnessy. I have a couple items. Are you there? I thought I saw him.
Judge, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Did you get conflicted?
No, not at all. I just, I had oral.
Huh? I can table this item till next week.
No. Let me pull up the,
We have to go in executive session. I have two items. But if you had oral surgery, we don't mind waiting till next week.
hang on, let me just get the Zoom link.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
you,
trying to find the Zoom link, Judge, I'm sorry.
oh, you.
Yeah.
Who sends those out for you, Judge?
Victor did, and I checked it. He sent it to you. But we just have those two items left. We don't have a big meeting. But I'd also like to get those information from Jorge and the plat so you can review them ahead of
Okay.
time and get a little bit more prepared.
Okay.
So
Either way, Judge, you tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it either way.
I'd say let's just table those two items, and I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you. One is I got some more applications to send to you. We got a couple more.
Oh,
Thank you,
great.
Margie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if
Okay.
you got some more. And I got one more. So we got that. The second thing is that the Curtises are interested in selling the property. There's a couple other property owners, which is Mr. Van Cleve, Herb Bristow, not Herb,
Man,
Wilbur, Tenery and over there 4L. So I'd like to go to executive session to talk to those, but I'd like to get those plats. That way we cover them.
Okay. Yeah.
So we cover them
I'm
and
with you.
then we have it.
Yep.
So, and then we'll look at it that way. So I'll get you the
Okay.
plats and you can see, where we're at.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. I'm sorry I had to have emergency surgery, and I thought it was gonna be a lot less involved than it was.
No, it's
I
okay.
apologize.
It's okay. It kind of works out good. it kind of works
Okay.
out good. So it's good and we'll get that done. So
All right.
we will need a motion
Thanks.
to table those items. Thank you, Mike.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Second.
Motion was made to table
Need 2 seconds.
7 and 8. Eight, well, it'd be 7, 10, and 11, I'm sorry. 7, 10, and 11. Who made the motion?
I did. And me 2 seconds.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, do we need any budget amendments? You don't know? Want to table that too?
I'll make the motion to table.
Second.
I need a budget, give me a budget analysis, and then I'll review it with Jorge.
I did.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor say aye. So
Aye.
we're on the bills.
En poquitas. We don't go broke.
Hicieron, Josh.
Es todo, Mary. So. Report. 9.
Commissioner.
What are we gonna do with Oscars? Chair. You want a new one?
Yeah.
No tiene vehicle. He don't have a pickup. Well, he's fixing it, right? He already did. They already fixed it. Yeah, I think I heard. He wants a pickup. Can't get him out of there. Guy. Because he wants a pickup because he's got 4-wheel drive for the ranch. County roads. Está bien. Let's look into it.
That's gonna be a new vehicle. New vehicle.
A bear.
So he's gonna go ahead and pick whatever he knows, everything that needs to be on and everything. Whatever the. Oh, okay.
They about run the same thing, about 54,000 with everything. Huh? Well,
Finance.
mainly we're going with, well, we're going to with somebody from the valley, because they're quicker. But we got 3 coming, remember? You approve it, they are like quicker.
Bear. Yeah, bear. I'll make the motion.
Okay. I'll go ahead second. Aye.
Van a ir. Oh. Oh. Bueno,
¿Ya fueron o acá lo pidieron?
creo que afuera. No sé.
Ya fueron entonces.
¿De qué? ¿De acuerdo? ¿Eh? Ya fueron. Yo dije, cuéntame, no me di cuenta. ¿Qué vale? ¿Eh? ¿Está bien? ¿Está bien? Usted le habla a la Vale, nadie te llama. Esto no va para allá. ¿Ese es? Todo. Entonces,
Aye.
Yes, all the others.
Possible 1 and 2?